Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Justin, Josh, and Blake. First time we've all been together. It seems like life has been a little crazy pretty much since Josh has had a baby.
Yep.
It's been tough to line all the schedules every time we think we do. My kid has a medical emergency, and I have to take him to the hospital. We've been trying to plan this 500th episode, and when there's a blizzard and then sickness, it's been kind of a crazy couple of months. So I appreciate all of you guys kind of hanging out with us and dealing with the delays and the episodes that are supposed to be coming in and they don't show up. I was not supposed to be on a 2-week hiatus. I actually recorded an episode with Kenny, and we did this great episode for you and did everything except for hit record. So I recorded a 48-minute episode with Kenny last week. I thought it was our best one yet, and I went to go send it to Josh, and there was no recording to send to Josh because I never hit record. So that's just kind of how the last 2 months have gone for the Dogs Podcast, but we're happy to all be back together and talking about kind of even though it's been a lackluster free agency for the Browns and trade market for the Browns, still just a ton of stuff to get into in terms of speculation and the things that we have done. So I'm excited to get into this episode. I've been looking forward to it all day. Before we do that, remember, if you want to get your thoughts and intros on the show, head to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we're putting out. The notification bell is important because we're finally announcing for the third time we are going to do the 500 celebration episode, and I feel very confident that it is actually going to happen this time. It'll be on Monday, March 17th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be live on YouTube. We'll have a special guest with us. We're going to be giving away 3 Dogs Podcast t-shirts. All you have to do to be entered in that drawing is be a YouTube member already or become one between now and the end of that episode. We're going to be raffling off a Browns jersey. Again, to be entered in that, you just have to be a Dog Pack member, either already or become one between now and the end of that episode. And we are also going to be raffling off a surprise grand prize. And I think a lot of people will be excited. We're not going to announce it until the episode. So if you're interested in what that could be, make sure you tune in Monday at 6:30. And in order to be entered for that, I think it'll just be a combination. I think it'll be what we want to do. We're making this up on the fly. Anybody who is a Dog Pack member or a YouTube member, we'll throw in, and we'll make it a big pot. Lower the odds, make it more exciting. So become a YouTube member and you have a chance to win the t-shirt or the grand prize. Become a Dog Pack member and you can win the t-shirt, the grand prize, or Browns jersey. So we're going to be giving away a lot of stuff that night, doing a fun episode for you guys. And I promise, I feel very confident that we're actually going to be live on YouTube Monday at 6:30. So make sure that notification bell's tapped so you don't miss the alert that we're going live that day. If you prefer to just listen to the show, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. You can find us on any of the major social media platforms. Just search at the Dogs Podcast. And then lastly, if you're looking for more Dogs content, just head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member, get access to the private Discord, play fantasy football with us. That's right around the corner. A few months, we'll be starting the drafts back up. Obviously entered for all the contests that we do throughout the year. And we're also looking for other ways to revamp that. So if you want to hang out with us, you want to meet Browns fans from all over, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. So just to kick off, well, first of all, before we kick off the episode, and I didn't even tell you guys this, I want to give a big shout out and congratulations to former and forever Dog Pack or Dogs host Zach Kopp. Had his first baby yesterday.
Oh, congratulations,
this is news
Zach.
to me.
I didn't know it happened yet.
News.
Healthy little baby girl, mom and baby are doing great. They seem very happy. So big shout out. Zach was going to be doing an episode with us. And then because of all the delays, then now he had his baby. We'll never see him again.
That's
fun. We wanted to give
You lost him.
But we wanted to give Zach a big shout out. Congratulations to him. Okay, now we will dive into the episode. I almost forgot. I'm glad I wrote it down. We have a voicemail from Stacy. We're going to kind of use this to launch into the episode.
What's up, Dogs Podcast? It's Stacy. I'm just going to speak a little bit on the recent news with the Browns. Obviously, Myles Garrett signed the big contract. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about that. He kind of hurt my feelings a lot when it came to the way that he went about it with the media. So still a little, I don't know about that situation. But I mean, I am happy he's a Brown because we need those big name players in order to bring in other big name players. Otherwise, no one's going to want to come to a team that has a bunch of nobodies on it. Then as far as the Kenny Pickett trade goes, I know a lot of people are upset about that. Honestly, I don't think it was a bad trade. DTR has proven time and time again he is not an NFL quarterback, is absolute garbage. So Kenny Pickett obviously has started multiple games for the Steelers, didn't put out the best numbers, turned himself into a backup because of it, but still has proven himself far more than DTR has. So I think it's a win. I think it's time for us to get out there and still get our bridge quarterback, though. I don't know who exactly that will be. I just don't think, obviously, Kenny Pickett is not the answer. So I'm excited to see what they plan on doing. Still want Cam Ward at 2. That would be my ideal situation, but we'll see what happens.
Well, thank you for the voicemail. Again, if you want to get voicemails on the show, Stacy's left us a bunch. We always appreciate them. That's thedogspodcast.com. Just tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. So the first thing we'll talk about, she started talking about the Myles Garrett extension. A couple things. She mentioned hurt feelings. I had a couple guys, one guy in particular at work. He was really upset that we gave him the money after he went on TV and the radios and said the bad things about us. And I guess maybe this was just my mindset. I was obviously like getting annoyed per se, like, okay, we get it, you went out. But I at the bottom, deep down, I knew he wasn't going anywhere. So I was not going to get all bent out of shape. And I think he didn't say anything that we don't come on this podcast and say regularly. The Browns aren't any good right now. We don't have a quarterback. We don't seem to have a plan to be Super Bowl contenders this year. So he's just saying the same thing we said. And that's, if we take a step back, like, we all love the Browns more than the people that play for the Browns, probably. It's a business and it's a job for them. So whenever you're negotiating, anybody, things are said, you have to be willing to let just like water under the bridge in that situation. So I wasn't going to take any of it personal. I'm not mad at him. I'm happy he's here. I was hoping we would keep him. I was very confident that we were going to keep him because it made no sense to trade him financially or just from a roster standpoint, unless we got some crazy haul. So my feelings aren't hurt. I'm ready to cheer on Myles Garrett. I am curious to see how the press conference goes tomorrow. He's supposed to do one, which kind of takes me to my next thought was, I think Josh made a post about this. What did they pitch him to get him to want to stay? Because he's been saying this whole time about how it wasn't about the money. And so what did they pitch him? Especially because he signs the extension and then we sign Kenny Pickett or trade for Kenny Pickett. It's like, this can't be what they pitched him.
Right.
My thoughts on that is, I don't think they pitched him anything.
No.
I think they said he's like, I'm not going anywhere. They said, listen, Myles, you're not going anywhere. You can sit there for 2 years and lose a bunch of money and bitch and moan, or here's a boatload of money and you can come play for us. Those are your two options. Take it or leave it. And he's like, well, I guess I should take it sooner rather than later, because if I am going to be stuck here, at least if I do it sooner, they know what they're doing money-wise. We can hopefully add more talent to the team because I want to win. I don't think they sat him in a room and convinced him that we were all of a sudden contenders. I don't believe that for a single second. I think he realized he had 0% leverage to force a trade, and that the Browns were not trading him at all. It didn't matter how many TV shows he went on and talked about us. So he's like, if I'm going to be in Cleveland, at least back of the Brinks truck to my house, it'll make it more comfortable, when I'm making $40 million a year.
Yeah. I think the pitch was, hey, we're going to give you $40 million a year. I think that was the pitch. That's very easy. I don't know how you guys felt, but like seeing that come through, I was completely caught off guard. I thought that we would not see any news about Myles Garrett until maybe like training camp. I think when it got closer to like him actually seeing if he was going to sit out games and stuff like that. Honestly, I'm kind of with you, Blake. I think they just threw a lot of money at him and he said, hey, I don't really want to sit out 2 years or whatever. But I did think that there was like interesting things about the contract. I think like the no trade clause is kind of, I don't get that, like that part of it. Especially, like 2-3 years down the road, he's probably going to still feel the same way unless things drastically turn around. So I didn't understand that. I felt like we held pretty much all the leverage heading into the contract. And now he kind of holds all the leverage, other than, it's the Browns and him. But like, I felt like he got a lot back in that.
I think like throwing in the no trade clause and that kind of thing, even though we were playing hardball with them, I think our front office is still, for the most part, like I feel like they've done a pretty good job of doing right by people. Yeah. So it wasn't like we were trying to stick it to Myles Garrett. We made it known that we wanted to keep him here, and I think it was known that we were willing to make him the highest paid player even before he demanded his trade. So I think it's a kind of a good look on our end we didn't have an axe to grind. We didn't just say, you're on a 2-year contract. We don't have to give you a penny more. You can just come here and play. You can sit. We still rewarded him for being, the best defensive player in football with a great contract, and gave him some leverage and that kind of thing. So I think it kind of maybe helped quell like any kind of anger on either side in terms of like, listen, we see what you're doing. Okay, we're not going to do with that, but there's no bad blood. You're still here. You're still Cleveland Brown for life. Like, we're happy to have you, and that's it. So the pitch, though, I don't think I do think it is about winning for Myles in terms of he could have dragged this out longer, and the fact that he wanted to get it done at the beginning of free agency so the Browns knew what they had to work with in terms of money and roster. I do think that kind of says he wants to compete and win it. You know what I mean? It's just, if we weren't going to let him go, he's like, I'm at least going to get money out of this.
I think the pitch, did you guys see the memes online? I think it was the guy from Mad Men, and the first day it was like, we're going to bring in a Super Bowl quarterback, and it's Kenny Pickett. Yes. And then the very next day they're like, oh, let's revise these memes, and it's, we're going to bring in 2 Super Bowl quarterbacks, and it's Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson.
Yes. Gold.
I like to think that's how it went.
I don't think it went like that.
So you mentioned Kenny Pickett. Stacey obviously mentioned Kenny Pickett.
Well, here, real quick,
Josh,
before we go to that, I just on the Myles thing. Did you guys read that Jason Lloyd article today?
Yeah.
I wasn't even paying. No, I don't find any credibility in that whatsoever.
That's the thing. So whenever he did the article about Deshaun Watson, he had quotes from players. He had sources. He didn't name them, but at least he said per source this, per source that. This was like a total opinion piece. If for anybody out there listening or watching that did not read it or catch it, his quote was, "It's well known within the Browns that Garrett is frequently late to the facility. He has skipped mandatory team activities on multiple occasions." I don't know about that. Veterans typically police the locker room on those types of things, create the culture of accountability. But here it's the best player breaking the rules, and that has to change now. I've never heard anything about Myles being late to the facility, especially not frequently. In over 8 years, if that were true, we would have heard something, I'm sure. And the mandatory team activity, isn't the only thing he ever really skipped was that little field trip to the Hall of Fame? And he said something like, I don't want to go there until I get inducted or something.
He went there. He just sat in the bus. He just didn't go in or something, which, like, whatever. I don't. Yeah.
It's nothing about it. Nothing. Yeah.
I don't find any credibility in it.
I didn't either.
Like you said, there's no way. You mean to tell me of all the leaks that have come out of the Cleveland Browns organization before the current front office, in all the dumpster fire that led up to this, we never heard a single peep from anybody that Myles is not good in the locker room. He's always showing up late, skipping things. If he was skipping things, he'd be getting fined.
Exactly.
So I'm not buying it at all. The guy who wrote the article, I'm not really a huge fan of that show in general. So I don't put any credibility into that.
Okay, easy enough. I just wanted to bring it up because I know people are probably interested to hear about it if they saw it. But yeah, I just thought this is kind of a garbage piece.
And interesting timing.
Yeah. So then I did want to talk about Kenny Pickett. Stacey mentioned in your voicemail. I know when I first saw that we traded for him, I was just like, my first thought that went through my head was, we spent years making fun of the Steelers for having this guy. This is punishment for putting him on our team now. But the way I look at it is, and once I got over it, I realized I don't think he's at least not going to be here to be the starter. I'm not saying he won't ever not start a game due to injury or whatever, but I don't think he's here to be the starter. So I got over the puking in my mouth sensation rather quickly to think he is an upgrade over DTR, by a lot. I don't think DTR will be in the NFL that much longer. Kenny Pickett will be a backup for a while, I believe. And I also thought if he's good enough to be a backup on the team that won the Super Bowl, he's good enough to back up the Browns who don't currently have a quarterback. So in the 5th round pick, I'm not overly worried about the 5th round pick. So I see it in terms of you upgrade your backup. If we are still drafting a quarterback, you don't want that rookie to be your backup. You don't want the same thing that happened when DTR got thrown in as a rookie. So you still wanted a veteran backup to come in and hopefully be the backup to the actual bridge quarterback that we're going to hopefully trade or sign or something sometime, please God, in the next few days. So once I got over the shock of Kenny Pickett being a Brown, like I was able to at least see it from a tactical point of view.
I hate it. You guys know that. We were texting back and forth. I hate it. Just again, it goes back to that made fun of him so much in Pittsburgh. I argue with so many Steelers fans that thought he was the answer. I'm like, this guy is garbage. He's butt cheeks, man. This guy is so bad. He played 24 games, started 24 games for the Steelers over 2 seasons and threw 13 touchdowns. It's like less than half a touchdown a game average. I know it's an upgrade over DTR. Just in my point of view, I'm like, that is not much of an upgrade. But what do you think, Justin?
I'm kind of like, I'm with you guys on both fronts. Okay. I know when I saw it, I went, oh my gosh, wow, what in the 3 and 14 are we doing out here right now? Yeah. I'm very confused. Was this the big move? And then, it's just typical Cleveland fandom stuff where we just embellish it too. And we're like, man, we stink. This is what we're doing. I'm kind of with Blake though. I feel like you're getting rid of DTR. We saw what DTR was, as far as a future quarterback. I don't think he was a franchise guy. Honestly, would you guys say that he was even a backup? He's to DTR? A quarterback.
He's not even a franchise practice squad
That's what
guy.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So basically, you're getting rid of him and you're getting back. I know they reached, but you're getting back a 1st round talent. Who knows? Let's throw him in Stefanski's system, see what happens. And like Blake said, he's not coming in to be the starter. If he is, well, then don't worry about it. We're going to draft another guy or two next year too, because we're probably going to be pretty crappy. So just, it is what it is. I think that, you got to have a guy behind whoever you bring in, and there will be somebody that comes in. The name's getting smaller and smaller, but I'm very okay with it. After I got over the fact, now like every day at work, people just look at me and they're like, Kenny fucking Pickett, for real? And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's the direction we're going. I'm stoked, but really, like, you gotta just laugh. Like Josh said it, we talked big shit about Kenny Pickett for years. And now we're sitting here talking about him being on our team. So you should definitely reach out to him, see if he wants to come on the show for an interview. I'm sure he'd love to.
Probably not going to do that, but I will say that just because he's on the Browns now doesn't change all the crap I talked about. I mean, that stuff was still very valid.
Some of it cracked.
Here's what I'm going to say about this is no quarterback has looked good playing for the Steelers since Ben left. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's going to come in and magically light it up, but I feel much better about how he can play in Kevin Stefanski's offense as opposed to whatever crap they run in Pittsburgh. I also feel like we have a good working relationship with the Eagles, and if he was good enough to be a backup for them, they told us something like, there's something there. This guy's not complete trash. Like he can be a backup for you guys in the spot starter, with our relationship with Howie Roseman in their front office. So again, I'm not saying I think he's going to come in and revitalize his career, but I do think he can play better than what he has shown to this point in his career. And I think he's significantly better than DTR. Yeah. Like I don't think DTR belongs on an NFL roster.
Fair. Think about this. The year ended and we looked at the quarterback room and said, man, this is bad. We need an overhaul. This is an overhaul. At worst, it's competition in the room. You know what I mean? It's a young guy. Could be a camp arm. I'm not saying, I think he could be the QB2 this year. It just depends on who you bring in. Because you don't want, let's say you do take a rookie quarterback, whether it's at 2 or it's down the road. Do you want him starting any games this upcoming year? I don't. I've watched every one of our quarterbacks that we've done this to. Time and time again. For 20 years now, we've done this. Bring in the rookie. Bring in the fans. We got to chill out. When it's the start of the season, we can't be hollering, bring in the rookie.
I think
even if it's really, really bad. With
the rookie thing, it's a talent level. I think that if they end up taking one of the, Cam or Shador at 2, there's a chance that guy could be the QB2 going into the season and could, through training camp and everything, show that, hey, this guy's got a pretty good grasp of the offense. We drafted him at 2 for a reason. He'll be the QB2 or whatever. But I think if you pass it 2 and you end up taking, a second, third, fourth round quarterback, rookie, whatever they end up doing, if they don't take one at 2, that's where it's Kenny Pickett's going to be the QB2. And damn well with the way the Browns history is, he's making the jersey at some point.
I will say this, based on Brown's history, I watched them trade away Dobbs because they believed in DTR so badly at the backup quarterback position. And ultimately, he came in an hour before the game basically started, and he was told he's going to be the starter. So, but then it still really didn't translate.
But the one opposing quarterback the DTR did beat, the only one, was Kenny Pickett.
13-10.
That's right.
I remember this game very well.
This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, it's about time the dogs offered you something for the real dogs in your life. Our furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. And you wouldn't let yourself or your children eat strange meat from questionable sources, and your dog shouldn't either. Right now, head to butcherboxforpets.com/dogs or use promo code DOGS, DAWGS, to get 20% off your entire order. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain 0 artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. And ButcherBox even removes the guesswork for you. Their custom meal plans are perfectly portioned to fit your dog's nutritional needs based on 8 factors, including age, weight, and activity level. I know my home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. And it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to add dog food to the shopping list ever again. ButcherBox delivers their high-quality food right to your door on the right feeding schedule for your dog. And you can change, modify, or pause your plan at any time. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/dogs and use promo code DOGS for 20% off your order. It's time for all of us dogs to give all of our dogs the nutrition they deserve.
Your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most.
Perfect.
But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value, for an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch.
So, as if trading for Kenny Pickett wasn't bad enough or, mid enough, I guess. Now we're entertaining their other quarterback that we're just swapping Steelers reject quarterbacks. How do you guys feel about Russell visiting us potentially signing him? I know my very first thought was I need to digest it. I need to think about it. I don't know if I hate it and I don't know if I like it. The more I think about it, the more I think we could do worse. I know he's gotten a very bad rap the last couple years, but outside of the year that he played with Nathaniel Hackett, who is arguably the worst offensive coordinator in football, and nobody has played well for him, except for Aaron. I think Aaron Rodgers played well for him a little bit in Green Bay or wherever they were together. But he played really well for Sean Payton the 1 year in Denver. His numbers were, he was good. He torched the Browns. And then he played well at times last year for Pittsburgh. And again, I think their offense is hot garbage. I thought Arthur Smith was a terrible coordinator hire for them. So I think, I don't know. He's kind of a weird guy a little bit. That's kind of like the vibe you get from people who play with him. But I do think it would be a stark contrast to what we've had in terms of Russell loves football, and he'll be prepared, and he watches film and he works out, and he's a football guru guy. It's not his hobby. So you'll get a guy who's ready to play if you get Russell Wilson. I won't be worried about that kind of thing. So, and I do think again he could play well in a Kevin offense. He's not as mobile as he was, but he can still move a little bit. He can still throw a good deep ball. I do think he could play well in Kevin's offense. I am a little nervous about him and Judy playing together when they didn't
have any chemistry.
Yes.
Yeah. I went and looked into that a little bit, and whenever they were benching Russell Wilson there in his final games in Denver, Judy did have a tweet that was very much in defense of Russell Wilson, saying, can't believe they're doing this to my boy. Like something about he's the best leader at the quarterback position I've ever had. Something like that. I forget the tweet exactly, but it was very supportive of him. So I thought, okay, well, that's at least he's not out there tweeting, hey, get this guy out of here. He sucks. Yeah. But
we don't want Russ.
Right,
we don't want him.
Last year, he started 11 games for the Steelers. They made the switch from Justin Fields after Russell got, what was it, a calf injury, I think, held him out for a little bit those first few games.
Pushing a sled.
Then he ended up throwing 16 touchdowns to just 5 picks over those 11 games. I mean, those are numbers. The Browns are the league leaders. We champion turnovers in the NFL. Like that number 1 spot for most turnovers, that's us. And if you get a guy that can go out there over 11 games, he's only throwing 5 picks. You talk about upgrading the quarterback position. Geez, that's a huge upgrade over what we've had.
As far as Russ, bring him in. This is what I'm going to tee you up here in a second, Josh. So be prepared for this, okay?
Ready.
When people are like, hey, Russell Wilson, not really interested, I'm like, you really, really need to take a look at what's available right now and who our future leader of this offense and team is going to be. I don't know if you guys saw it, but just a couple minutes ago, Gardner Minshew signed with Kansas City. So another guy off the table for us.
I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, it just came through. But the names are awful. And it's very, very, it'll make you nervous. There's a couple of guys where I'm like, maybe we could catch lightning again. But there's a lot of guys where I'm like, but he sucks. He's not good. This could be rough. But go ahead, Josh. Read this huge bounty of names that we could have at quarterback 1.
Okay, so there's like a 3-team battle for the top 2 free agents right now, and that would be the Browns, Giants, and the Steelers are fighting over the services of Mr. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. So we'll see where Aaron Rodgers decides to go. It sounds like he's debating between Minnesota,
and Giants,
I guess. I don't know why he would go
yeah.
there. I mean, no guarantee to even start. They've got their young, whatever. But yeah, the Giants and the Steelers.
He'd definitely start if you went to Minnesota, for sure.
We'll see. But
JJ, you're sitting another year, brother.
They're not signing him to sit.
But yeah, so Russell Wilson now is going to visit the Giants tomorrow. We'll see what he ends up deciding he wants to do. But other than that, the names are Gardner Minshew, cross off the list apparently. Yep. Now we're looking at Trey Lance, Taylor Heineke, Drew Lock. Hey, there's Joe Flacco, who I would be shocked if he came back here. Jameis Winston, not coming back here. Carson Wentz. Case Keenum, let's roll it back. Easton Stick, Cooper Rush, Kyle Allen, who I thought did sign with somebody. Maybe I missed that. CJ Beathard. I mean, guys, we're screwed.
CJ Beathard, dang it.
Screwed.
The only 2 names you said right there that really stuck out to me, 3 names.
Yeah, go ahead. Hit it.
Wentz, I don't really want, even though he played pretty well that year in Indy, and then for some reason they still let him go. And then Taylor Heineke.
Yep.
And who was one of the last guys you said? Cooper Rush. Those are about the only 3 names that made my ears perk up even the tiniest little bit.
And these are backup quarterbacks that we're talking about being the starter.
I don't want to bring any of them in to be the starter.
Yep,
like if they were coming in to be our Kenny Pickett, then okay. It's crazy to me. How much do you guys feel like the Falcons are actually willing to keep Kirk Cousins, or if they're just trying to milk us for a pick or something?
I think they're trying to milk us for a pick, and then I don't think we can keep the 40 million a year, because if we trade for him, we're taking his contract too. And then tell me how I need help on the numbers there, because I see just more red, I don't know how we're going to get under the cap.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Duffin broke it down last year how they would still be able to finagle the cap to do, because Kirk Cousins was his example. But I think the play is wait for them to cut him. And, if they end up paying him out that $10 million roster bonus on Sunday or Monday, whenever that kicks in, I don't know. I mean, their owner did say, or their GM did say, we game planned, obviously, for this money at the quarterback position. So even if he's the backup, it's not like it's a surprise that we're paying this money. We planned for it. It's an expensive backup, but at least we have a backup in place. So I don't know.
it'd be shocking to me if they're willing to let him sit on the bench at the tail end of his career. Like, you're going to tank the guy's career. You're going to make him sit. It's not a Myles Garrett situation where he's, in the prime and he signed an extension. Like, you just brought him in and then you benched him. And you're not going to give him the opportunity to play the last year or two of his career. You're going to make him sit and that seems kind of I don't think that's a great look for the organization, to be honest. So just make him sit there and waste the last 2 years of his career or whatever.
I understand that, but it's the money, I think, is the issue. It's if they cut him before, well, I guess if they cut him and designate him as a post June 1st, it's still a $40 million dead cap this year and $12.5 million the next 2 seasons. So
there's talked about this.
Yeah, there's a financial. Yeah. I mean, they would be on the hook for a lot of money if they just outright.
But you just said that they already allocated him.
No,
this is dead cap
days.
though. I'm saying now they would be without a backup quarterback, but yet they're still paying $40 million for him. That's kind of the situation we were in with Myles. Are we really going to trade him and take on a $36 million dead cap hit to not have him here? No, we were never going to do that.
It's not. They're paying him no matter what. So they're going to be paying him not to play. So if they cut him, I guess the only difference is he's just not on the team, and you have to have another backup quarterback. But like you just said, the money isn't an issue for them in terms of it's already allocated. They already plan on spending it on him. So the only difference would be is he's just not on the team, which I guess, again, is a big deal. But I think it's a crappy look for your organization to bring a guy who's as well respected as Kirk Cousins in and make him just rot away the last 2 good years of his career on your bench.
That's my.
I don't know what that to me, that's not going to play well to future free agents. Like, this guy, Kirk Cousins, is a guy who's known to like do everything right, and prepare, and be, and then you say, he's like, I just want to be able to play I don't get to play this game forever. I didn't sign you for this money and then bench me. You guys did that. So let me please go play football. And they're like, no, we're just going to make you sit here and rot. That's a bad look in my opinion.
I mean, he still gets his $100 million guaranteed. I mean, at the end of the day, this, like you said earlier, this is a business. And I think,
there's a right and wrong way to do it.
I know, but it doesn't mean that the money doesn't prohibit you from doing it the way you would like to do it. I mean, maybe, and the thing
but
is,
it's not prohibiting him. You just said they already allocated the money for him.
With him on the roster. You got to understand, cutting him is now you're taking $40 million out of your salary cap that you can put at other positions, and you can't use it at all because the guy that you had that money assigned to is not here.
You still can't use it at all because if he's here, you're paying him, so you're not using it on any.
But if he's here, he's your insurance policy for your quarterback who only played a couple games last year, was a rookie, has an injury history himself. I'm just saying, dude.
Again,
it's not as cut and dry as like, hey, we like Kirk Cousins as a person, so we'll just eat this $40 million and the $12.5 million the next 2 years. It's dicey. I could see it going either way. Well, they should have never signed him to the contract in the first place then. What do you think? What do you think, Justin? Let's hear it. Should they just cut him and eat the dough?
I told you 2 weeks ago, I said I didn't think they were going to do it. I said they were going to have him as a backup. They keep saying they're going to have him as a backup. It's not that I don't think they trust Penix, but I mean,
they already did him dirty by taking the quarterback, and then they don't let him go play. It's not like he's 25. So I don't know. To me, it's just a really crappy look on the Falcons' part.
I do think it probably will get a lot uglier because he's saying, hey, I want to be a starter somewhere in 2025. And they're saying, nah, you're not going to be a starter. So I do think it could get a little spicy down the road. So just hold this argument for a little bit. I'd love to see you guys argue about this down the road here.
Yeah, well, we'll find out this week.
I'm not saying they're not within their rights. I'm just saying it's a crappy look, in my opinion, to do that to somebody who's as well respected around the league as Kirk Cousins.
Well, let's put it this way, too. If it comes out tomorrow or like Saturday, the Browns signed Russell Wilson, what are they going to do with Kirk Cousins? There's really no other suitors. I understand that like Pittsburgh obviously could jump it there, you throw their hat out there, too. But now you're running up against that roster bonus. And, what are they? I don't know.
There's teams that can trade for a Kirk Cousins, but we are not one of those teams. So I think that if it becomes that situation, we're out. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I just don't see how it all adds up. If we didn't have barely any cap space to do anything in free agency, how are we going to trade for Kirk Cousins? and the $40 million. So we'd be paying. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of freeing up cap, we just freed up some money. Do you think it is because by restructuring Jack Conklin, took a year off of his deal, freed up? Do you think it's because we thought the meeting with Russ went well? Do you think it's because we think we might have to go trade for Kirk and give up that pick and pay him? What do you guys think that means?
So when I saw the Conklin thing, now, like Jack Duffin had been talking about this, reading his stuff about what I think that the Browns are going to do contractually with some of their players. He thought there's no way they're paying Jack Conklin the $17 million this year. They're going to restructure. They're going to figure something out. And I think it was smart of them to get a year off of the contract because he's getting older. He gets injured a lot. Next year might be the year to move on from him instead of being in this like, well, we owe him this much money. He's this much dead cap, blah, blah, blah. I feel like it worked out for both sides, and I'm glad they did it. I don't know if it was necessarily gearing up for another move. And as far as I understand, the move only cleared up maybe $1 or $2 million actually, like usable cap this year.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it was a big thing. I think it was more about getting that year off of there.
And security at that position. We're going in again going, man, the line really can't stay healthy, you know? So for me, when I saw it, I was thrilled. I'm like, okay, you know, although he struggles to stay healthy, there's stability there when he is on the field.
Yeah, well, he was under contract this year.
That they took a year off? I'm confused.
No, I'm saying like because he's gonna be in Cleveland and we're heading into it.
Oh, instead of
cutting him,
cutting him or what?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. What do you have again?
I'm with you, Blake. I was like, wait a minute. He was going to be. No, I'm with you, Justin. That makes sense. Okay.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
So that was one of the offseason moves we made today, was restructuring Jack Conklin. Just some of the other pieces we've added. Obviously, we traded for Pickett. I don't know. I just think we've done a sneaky good job under the radar addressing some depth pieces. Like, we haven't added any wow factors. I expected us to be a lot more aggressive, at least in terms of maybe making a splash trade. Andrew Berry has done that every single year he's been here. But I do think we've done a sneaky good job of addressing some of the depth issues. Do you want to go over the list of the guys that we brought in?
Yeah,
do you
sure.
have that?
Yep. So we signed offensive tackle Lucas, or is it? Yeah, Lucas Cornelius, backup swing tackle, played for the Commanders most recently. I mean, he's like 31 years old. He's been in the league for a long time. And just going through some stats and stuff on him, hasn't missed many games. He's played a lot of full seasons, primarily a backup, but he has started in spots. I forget all the information on him, obviously, off the top of my head, but he only allowed a couple sacks last year, and he started a lot of games, played a lot of snaps. So we're getting a guy who can hold down the fort if Conklin, God forbid, gets hurt again. DeJuan Jones isn't ready to go at the start of the season, or he's just not in shape, or whatever happens, because these guys get hurt. He is a much better backup tackle than anything we've had in years past, whether it be Jed Wills as a backup or James Hudson. It's just, this is much better. Adeniji, whatever we had last year. This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing, and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Bodden's website, where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Bodden Sports, BADEN Sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BoddenSports.com/dogs. Do you guys want to throw anything in on him?
I was just going to say, this is one of those things where, like, this isn't a big splash move, but a huge weakness for the Browns was backup tackle last year. And we just significantly improved in that position. So it's not, it's not going to make headlines, but that was a big hole for us last year. Backup quarterback, big issue. We upgraded a ton. We might not love Kenny Pickett, but he's still a huge up. So that's what was my point is I think the Browns did a good job of really upgrading some of their weak depth pieces, like backup quarterback and backup tackle.
Yeah. And then, I mean, as far as maybe not so much depth, but more starting, they signed defensive tackle Malik Collins from the 49ers. I thought that was a good move. We've been talking forever about our defensive line being pretty weak. We need to get some bodies in there, and I think that was a good start. And then also on the line, edge / outside linebacker, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I think I'm saying that right. We'll get used to it here. But he's coming, former, first-round pick, 32nd overall from the Buccaneers. So we get kind of some edge rush depth there to go with McGuire and Alex Wright and Obo. So we'll see how that shakes out. And then also on the defensive line, they signed Ralph Hawley from I believe the CFL, played for the Toronto Argonauts. Just a futures contract. But another guy that, Barry Shuck from Dogs by Nature did a whole article and interview with him. And you never know. You sign some of these guys and maybe they make it through camp, maybe they don't, but could end up being something. They kept Winston Reed, which I thought was a great move. I thought he played awesome last year for UDFA, and they re-signed Devin Bush, which I like that move because I thought he played pretty well for the Browns last year.
No, for sure. I thought we're going to need linebacker help.
So, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, no, I liked the re-signing of Devin Bush. No, I thought we did a good job. I think if we could running back, which I don't know if running back was ever in the cards in free agency. I think that's going to be a draft thing, but wide receiver and quarterback, I feel like if we can somehow address these in this offseason, you would have to look at it as actually a pretty successful offseason for the Browns. It's like, if we can manage to sign Russ or somehow get Kirk Cousins in here and pull off a trade for Ayuk, like I would consider this a pretty good offseason considering limited cap capabilities and where we're at and that kind of thing. Like you address some of your backup positions, some of your depth, and then you added a guy who's going to start at quarterback for you this year, and you added another wide receiver to go with Judy, who's actually caught touchdowns in the NFL. So, so those are. We need to make a couple more moves because right now it's a bit of I'd call it it's like a B+ free agency offseason for the Browns in terms of just any impact players. Like you're hoping you don't have to see your swing tackle or your backup quarterback or that kind of thing. So in terms of what's going to impact the field this year, the Browns haven't made those moves yet, I don't think, unless Kenny Pickett somehow becomes our starter.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
So then the last thing we kind of wanted to get to, we've been talking quarterback and just adding pieces to the team. Well, the best way to do that after free agency is going to be the draft coming up. Thoughts at 2. I know, Josh, you said every other day you're convinced that they're doing something different. So what are you thinking at 2 in terms of, I guess, what you think the Browns are going to do today? Like, how are you feeling this instant and what do you want to see done? Because that's a big pick for the Browns, obviously.
Yeah. So by all accounts, I mean, everything I'm seeing from analysts and stuff, it really feels, and what the Titans have done in free agency with their offensive line, they're taking Cam Ward number 1. I think that is the number 1 overall pick. That's going to be their quarterback. So that leaves us at 2. We can take Shedeur Sanders, but right now I don't know why. I've got this gut feeling that the Browns are eyeing up Travis Hunter. And I just made some notes here. So right now, if I had to place a bet today on what I think the Browns will do, especially if it's like they're not taking a quarterback, I think they're going to take Travis Hunter because Andrew Berry always talks about positional value. We hear him say that a lot. And to me, I'm trying to think through the lens of the Browns front office and what's more valuable than one player being in the top 1 or 2 at 2 different positions. And both of those positions are positions that you place a high value on. So from their perspective, I'm thinking like, not only do you get essentially 2 top players with 1 pick, but if everything goes right over the rookie contract down the road, well, then you're getting 2 extensions for the price of 1, essentially. And I analytically, I just feel like the Browns are looking at this thinking, well, we could get a top wide receiver for our team. We could get a cornerback who could come in and play, some meaningful snaps for us and help us out on defense. and we don't have to draft 2 separate people, and we don't have to pay 2 separate people. So I kind of have that gut feeling that they're not going to go quarterback at 2 right now. That's kind of where I'm feeling. And like a week ago, I was thinking, oh, they're taking Shador for sure. I don't know, man. What are you guys feeling right now?
I'll tell you this. Their quarterback room right now is Deshaun Watson and Kenny Pickett. So what I would do at number 2 is take a damn quarterback. Please take a quarterback. Can we build around an offensive leader it was so disappointing last year. We sat here and said they can't score more than 20 points. What are we doing? Quarterback's awful. All of them. Go draft a quarterback. A few of them. We've talked about multiple quarterbacks. Try to address it. If it misses, we'll be back there next year. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I feel like it would be so crazy for us to take, like, I hear people all the time talking about, oh man, if Russ comes to Cleveland, we got to take Abdul Carter. I'm like, that's still not even an answer down the road for the quarterback problem, because Russ I'm not even sure Russ has a full season. I mean, he's getting older. To me, I feel like we have to address quarterback.
This is, I think it probably depends on if they're able to get Russ or Kirk Cousins, because I think if they can get Russ or Kirk, then they can convince themselves to add a playmaker around that guy. They can be competitive this year. Sure. If they don't add a quarterback, then all of a sudden I think that becomes a bigger, obvious need. I think it's an obvious need no matter what. To the people saying not to take quarterback and just move up next year, and I know we've had this conversation, but the talk has always been, it's the class next year is so much better. I saw a list of the top quarterbacks that are supposed to come out next year. There's one name on there, and we don't even know if he's good yet. It's Arch Manning. Like, we all think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be good, and most likely he's going to be the number 1 pick, and that's how good he'll be. But we don't know for sure. We don't know if he's going to get injured, anything like that.
Or if he'll even come out next year.
Or if he'll even come out. You know who the number 3 ranked quarterback was coming out next year? Freaking Carson Beck. So that's what we're talking about is so much. This quarterback class, next year's quarterback class is so Carson Beck. He couldn't even succeed at Georgia,
right?
Where they're playing with 5-star athletes literally everywhere. So I don't want to hear the don't take it this year. These guys wouldn't even be on the first round next year. Guess they would. Cam Ward and Shador would 100% be above Carson Beck next year. Like, oh, give me a break. Come on now. So I would take the quarterback. In terms of Travis Hunter, I don't want to sound like a Travis Hunter hater, because I liked watching him. He made some crazy plays, and I think he's good. I just have this sick feeling that he's going to be a bust if he's taken this high. He's not the best receiver or the best corner. He does them both at a high level, but he's not the best at either one. And I think, like, if I'm taking it 2, I want the best wide receiver. Like, I'm going with McMillan from Arizona over Travis Hunter all day. I don't buy I don't think you can say you're getting 2 players for the price of 1, because I don't think any world where he's playing both sides of the ball. I think if he played in packages, it would be starting defender, a couple packages on offense. I don't know if he's never practicing corner, if then you could throw him in there and tell him to cover NFL wide receivers. If he's never practicing on the defensive side of the football when he's at the NFL level. So I don't want Travis Hunter. Like, to me, it's either a quarterback or it's McMillan, or that's basically it. Like, me, that's the 2 options.
I'm not saying I want them to do it. I'm saying that's now. That's where my gut. I'm like, man, I feel like we're going to be their draft night, and this is what's going to happen. Now, tomorrow might change. Who knows? I mean, my gut has been bouncing back and forth on this stuff for a while, but man, I do think that Travis Hunter, to me, I think he's the best receiver in the draft. I like McMillan, but I think Travis Hunter's just got more ceiling. He's got more, I don't know, just more NFL wide receiver skills. Either one of them would be nice, but I agree with you. 2 would probably be too high to do that. If you're going to not take the quarterback at 2, you're going to want to try to get down at least a couple spots.
Man, Travis Hunter's 6'1", McMillan's 6'4". Like, I don't know. To me, I don't need another 6-foot wide receiver. Give me, you know what I mean?
I know. So, N'Keal Harry was 6'4". I mean, height isn't everything, but.
But N'Keal Harry didn't run routes like McMillan does, or probably the 40 time that he ran is going to run. So I don't know. I know to me it's quarterback. Like I would go the only way, unless there's no way of knowing this, but if you went somebody else at 2 and like a guy like Shedeur just starts to slide and all of a sudden you find him in like the 15 range and you can package picks or whatever to get back up and then grab him. You got to come out with one of these top, in my opinion, one of these like top 3 quarterbacks. If it's not Shedeur, then you got to get Jackson Dart somehow.
Yep.
So, and like Justin said, if they suck, that means the Browns probably are going to suck, which means then we'll just be right back in the spot again next year. Either way, it's, if he's great, then you won't be. And if he sucks, we're right where we are now anyways, where you think we're going to be if we take him. So I'm taking the quarterback. Like you said, it's Deshaun Watson and Kenny Pickett right now.
A couple notes then that I just thought of here: Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. So Justin mentioned earlier, Cousins had a meeting with the Falcons owner and basically laid it out. I want to go somewhere I can be the starter. I basically want to be guaranteed I'm going to be the starter. Is that really Cleveland? I understand he would be the starter to begin with. But is he going to, I saw Mary Kay put it really well. She said, is he going to have a fear of being penixed by the end of the season by whatever rookie we draft? There's no guarantees he's going to get a starter spot for 2 years. So he's got a no trade clause. Even if we did try to trade for him, he could turn it down. If he's cut and he's a free agent, he doesn't have to sign here. And Russell Wilson, what if he's looking, I heard he wants to play 5 more seasons at least in the NFL. Well, what if we're like, hey, the most we can offer you is a 1-year deal. And Pittsburgh says, we'll give you 2. And New York says, we'll give you 2. Well, we're out of the running already because we can't offer him or promise him what he's looking for. So I think we're making, I don't mean us, like we as Browns fans, Browns community, we're making a lot of assumptions about these quarterbacks that they even want to come here or that we can even promise them the type of positional, opportunity that they're looking for.
I guess I would say if you were going to trade for Kirk because of that no trade clause, you probably have to give him some assurance that you're not going to take a quarterback this year. And you'd probably have to tell him you're going to come here and we're going to pick you a weapon and you're going to, and we'll get you somebody so we can compete this year.
How pissed do you think he'd be if they took Shedeur Sanders the 2?
He'd say, gosh darn it.
If they did something like that, then I could definitely see them going the weapon route early in the first round, whether it's at 2 or they trade back a little bit, and then maybe trying to get, I keep seeing the name connected. I know it's not our favorite guy in the world, but Jalen Milroe to the Browns keeps getting connected. And, if he sits behind Kirk Cousins and he doesn't play and he develops for like 2 solid seasons, who knows? I have seen some analysts throw out there like what he has on tape. A lot of his deficiencies are mechanics with his footwork, and that can be fixed. But his intangibles, if they fix everything else with his footwork and stuff, could be pretty high upside. I don't know if that, I'm just thinking the Browns tend to swing on those kind of players.
I hate the can be fixed thing because more often than not, I feel like it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's where your coaching comes in. Yeah. Coaching matters.
You know what I mean? Like, so, no, we'll see. I have no idea what they're doing it to. I think it should be quarterback, but I have no idea. I guess we're tight-lipped. There's no leaks coming out. Like we're trying to get information out of them, and there just is none. So I guess that's good. But no, I have no idea what they're going to do.
That's a great.
I honestly, I don't even know who's going to be on our. Like if we don't add one of these guys, there's no way you're not rolling into the season with Deshaun Watson, who's not even going to be healthy enough to play this year, more than likely, and Kenny Pickett. Like we probably still have to add 2 quarterbacks to this active roster because Deshaun's not even going to be a playable option, at least not until past the halfway point in the season. I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to play at all.
No, absolutely not. I was thinking about this the other night that if the Browns' goal this offseason was to create confusion by leaking certain things and rumors to different spots and getting stuff out there like at the combine and all that stuff, just to throw everybody off, they've done a hell of a job. Because like you just said, I have no clue what they're going to do because for a while it was, they're so linked to Shedeur. And then at the combine, they love Cam Ward. And then Andrew Berry's like, I would use Travis Hunter as a wide receiver. And they're like, fine at 2. They want to trade up to 1. They want to trade back. No idea what's going on.
Yeah, tough spot to be in when your jobs are on the line. It's really bad. Pretty crappy.
But I did want to, we talked about it before the episode, just real quick. How funny is it that the Browns and the Steelers right now are in such similar quarterback situations? The Steelers just brought back Mason Rudolph, baby, to their quarterback room. We're trading for Kenny Pickett. They're trying to get Russell Wilson back because they missed out on Justin Fields, couldn't guarantee him a spot. And, you know, they're like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, maybe you can come play here. And we're over here saying, we want Russ. We want Kirk. We're all fighting over the same scrap heap right now. It's kind of funny.
At least the Steelers did make the splash trade for DK.
Yeah.
That is,
but ours might be coming.
So ours might
be coming.
Yeah. I'm holding out hope.
Yeah.
I'm holding out that we're trying something, but it's just like the longer it goes, it's like, man, I'm anxious. I'm sitting at work just like, can we please do something? And in the Discord, I'm getting notifications and I open it and it's the Vikings signed some punter. I'm like, guys, I don't care about this. Like, come on. All I care about is getting Browns news. So we'll see what happens between now and, probably I think Kirk gets his bump on Monday. So I don't know. If we don't add a quarterback between whenever this episode comes out and sometime next week, I might be dead before we get to do the 500th episode because like my anxiety is going to be going through the roof of just knowing that my team doesn't have a quarterback outside of Kenny Pickett to play right now. If the Browns want to do us a favor though and announce something big like maybe Monday at 3:00 and then we could talk about it on the live, that'd be pretty cool. So
that'd be awesome.
Maybe that's what they're waiting for. So anything else? Are we all good? Nobody else?
I think we're good, man.
All right. I'm good.
We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Josh, you did press record, right?
I did. I think we're going to be able to put this one out tonight. Yep.
You're better than me. That's good. We appreciate you guys coming in, checking out the episode, hanging out with us through the whole off season. We're in the fun of it now, and we're pumped that you guys are here with us. Again, reminder, Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be doing the celebration of the Dogs surviving 500 episodes. We promise, we don't promise. We are very confident we will actually be there at 6:30 p.m. Again, raffling off 3 Dogs podcast t-shirts, a Browns jersey, and a mystery surprise grand prize. I think it's going to be something that everybody's going to want a piece of. So again, to become a YouTube member, become a Dog Pack member, you'll be entered in a chance to win those prizes. So we can't wait to see you guys on Monday. Make sure you guys are there. Hopefully the Browns give us some big news to talk about. Let us know what you guys think of the Miles extension and what you guys have thought of so far about our free agency and what the Browns are going to do at quarterback outside of Kenny Pickett. Ugh. So let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments, and we will see you guys Monday at 6:30.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DOGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DOGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DOGS.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yep.
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.